Welcome to my daily review. Today is Thursday, September 18th, and the market got the rate cut it wanted. And not only that, it got Jerome Powell saying there's going to be two more cuts in 2025. So it was a little bit of a celebration today. Who doesn't like to celebrate? The Nasdaq was up 209 points, 0.94%, closed at 22,470 with 17% above average, 50-day average volume. There you can see the volume day right there. So investors were happily buying stocks today following that rate cut and announcement from Jerome Powell. You see the Nasdaq now is 5.1% above its 50 and the 21, 2.8% above the 21. Tomorrow is OpX Friday. It's a quarterly end of the quarter. So it's a quad witching of Friday, the third Friday of September. And once we get the shenanigans behind us, I think the market will continue to do well and to enroll. And somebody asked me about, how long can this rally last? In 2017, the S&P was up the entire year. I forget the percentage amount. It was like in the 30s, like 37%, but it didn't have a drop of more than 2% the entire year. Maybe this weekend I'll go through one of those historical charts, but I don't want to do it right now. I want to talk about what's of the essence today. And the Russell 2000 is certainly, yeah, God, this is up 2.5%, right? Just lapping the field up, yeah, two and a half times what the Nasdaq was. So the Russell 2000, and of course the IWM is the ETF that tracks the Russell, and this one, yeah, doing very well, really strong today, up 2.5% as well. And some of the stocks that are in the Russell, and some of the top stocks, and I didn't even know this till I looked into it, is CRDO, which just has a nearly a 30 billion market cap. So that's really not a small cap stock. FN, they've grown so much in the past 6 months that yeah, they've just kind of these are 13 billion valuation. You think of the Russell 2000, you think of like two or three, excuse me, billion market cap. And this one's got 13 billion. Credo, yeah, up there. And the other one is KTOS, another top five holding of the IWM. This one is, yeah, 13 billion. Nice move there, KTOS. And then IONQ, which, obviously has grown a lot recently and is now a 19 billion market cap stock. So those are not small stocks, but those are the leaders and the top holdings of IWM. I just wanted to point that out. All right. And before I get on with the show today, somebody was arguing with me about Darden. And I just posted a little clip. I posted it on our page at mcstockcharts.com. And it was just an article from a briefing and the guy was arguing with me like the report's not that bad, it's pretty good, blah blah blah. I don't argue with the market. This is what the market is telling us. All right, this thing's down nearly 8% with massive volume. They're selling these retail restaurant stocks, so you got to avoid them. I don't care which one it is. They're selling all of them. There's no AI there. Like there's no there there. So they're selling restaurant stocks below the 200. There's nothing compelling about buying this stock. I mean, I just wished him good luck. But yeah, my point is, don't argue with the market. This is all you need to know. The market is talking and you need to listen. And so that's an avoid. And there's a lot of them that look the same way. I pointed it out recently. Kava, they've all been slaughtered. I mean, Sweet Green, these are just, yeah, you just got to avoid them for now. There'll be buys again, but I think the market's telling us that, we're in for a pretty rough road here and people aren't going to be spending as much money at restaurants going forward. So that's kind of the message there. Anyway, I want to get to the real news of the day, and that's NVIDIA making a 5 billion investment in Intel, and you think 5 billion is not that much, right? For 134 billion market cap company, obviously, Nvidia is like 4 trillion, more than 4 trillion, but it's kind of like psychological. This thing was up quite a bit and then sold off. Yeah, 32.38 made the high, closed at 30.57. So let's take a look at that on a 5-minute chart. Yeah, it kind of like ran up, and then profit takers are going, yeah, it's Intel. They're a government entity. The government got into them for a 10%. The CEO went to the White House and kissed the ring, and good things have been happening. Amazingly, how that happens. But congrats to the Intel longs. I know there's a lot of them out there. Yeah, Intel's been it's done nothing in 25 years. but it was one of the go-go stocks in the 90s and, big stalwart in Silicon Valley for a long, long time. So as a result of this news here, there was a lot of pin action and other stocks surrounding the semiconductor groups. And this is Lattice Semiconductor up 7%, just breaking out of that little wedge pattern. There's just a lot of them. ASML, this is a large cap stock, 365 billion market cap. This thing popped nicely. Take a look at this on the weekly chart. That's a nice breakout there. So congrats to the ASML longs. That thing looks really good. Applied Materials, another Silicon Valley stalwart, breaking out of a downtrend line here. This one looks pretty good. I didn't buy it. No, I don't think I own any semiconductor names, but this one, yeah, 6.5% move. Today, that one looks good. KLA 10 core, KLAC, or just KLA. This one popped nearly 6%. Wow, over $1,000 now. So nice $57 move for KLA. SITM, this doesn't need the help from Intel. This one's just been ripping recently. I've been pointing it out. Did I buy any? No. It just pulled back to the 5 yesterday and popped another 10% today. Ho hum. What's going on after hours here? I don't know. We'll have to snoop around. Rambus. Another one, popping here, 10%. Not only the NVIDIA and Intel news, the rate cut, Jerome Powell, went a long way to goosing this market and fanning the flames of this bull market. We love it. AEHR, another one that's just been on a heater, just surfing the 5 here. Nice pop today of 8%. But the loser was AMD. Now, I saw this one sell off in pre-market. It was down to like 148, 149. And this thing, yeah, it gapped down at the open. But man, buyers came in and bought this thing right up because NVIDIA's investment in Intel is not really going to impact AMD. And the other one was ARM. Think similar action in ARM. It sold off at the open, then some buyers came in, not as dramatic as AMD, but still, you get the point. All right, so now we have a different policy shift from the Federal Reserve. So I was saying that we might have some subtle shift, rotation into some, new leadership, but you know what? Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. And it was Palantir, these high valuation software names that were getting the love today. There's rotating right back into them. I was, playing around with Palantir today, and it was just, yeah, just steady up all day. So, yeah, buyers coming in when, they just turn on the programs, right? The algos just, run them all day long, just buying all day. There's mindless buying. I should say machine buying. Their machines have minds, I guess they do. I don't know. That's too much deep thinking for me. Um, they know what the humans tell them, I guess. Yeah, just buying all day long for CrowdStrike. So yeah, the high valuation. I mean, this thing's got a 125 billion market cap with about I don't know 4 billion in sales. So you're looking at more than 30 times sales. So yeah, not it's not a cheap stock at all. App Lovin, this one's not a high valuation. It's a 210 billion market cap. Yeah, so I guess you could say it's, yeah, it's 5 billion in sales and 210 billion market cap. So these high valuation, but this one's going to the S&P Monday morning. So there's been buying all, since the announcement was made. It's just every day, just relentlessly higher for App Lovin. Yeah, nice move today of a 2.5%. PGY. I'm just going to throw this one in there with the software because it is software, but it's financial. This is up 4.5%. I put this one on the ready list this week. It's had a pretty good week. So, sometimes I do get lucky. And you can see it's breaking out of this weekly base here. So yeah, that one looks good. And I would say still actionable, even though it's up 11%. Just wait for a pullback. Tomorrow is going to be probably pretty volatile. We're going to see a lot of movement, I believe, tomorrow with the quad witching. All right, so let's move on to some of the other stuff. More high valuation names that are just ripping and IONQs now's got a 19 billion market cap. I went through that earlier with about, I don't know, 50 million in sales. So that is just a grossly high valuation. But it's making new highs, and it bought a company yesterday. So quantum computing, you just have to have a leap of faith to buy these technically and not look at the fundamentals, because you see these big red numbers. Usually I stay away from stuff like that. But technically, this thing is sound, and it just broke out of this base right here, or a Darvis box, if you will, here just this week it broke out. So Rigetti, fantastic. QBTS, another one. D-Wave Quantum up 6.5%. Sorry, I'm sipping on my Dutch Bros tea. Dutch Bros is getting slaughtered too. Uh, okay, somebody's trying to get a hold of me, so I'm distracted. Sorry about that. The energy names, man, you talk about, I picked out the worst house in a good neighborhood. The group is awesome, and a lot of them are just flying. This is OKLO. I think it was over 110 today. Pull back into the close. We saw a lot of that stuff. Yeah, 110.82. Because people are getting cautious ahead of OPEX tomorrow, and there you see, taking profits into the tomorrow. This is LEU, and this one just went flat. This is ripping all day and just went flat. So, and it closed near the high of the day at 93% of the daily range, 14% move on that one. So which one did I pick out? No. Bloom Energy is another one, just romping, man. These things are just, yeah, I mean, it's hard to buy here, right? So you just got to wait for a day or two where it pulls back to the five. I had people asking me about this one. I was like, nah, I don't want to chase it above 80. Let that green line catch up. Maybe it'll pull back to 80. Maybe it'll go up to 85, then pull back to 80. But I don't want to chase it, because as soon as I buy, it's going to come right back to that green line. And then I'm down and I'm bummed and I'm crying in my beer. And I don't want to cry in my beer. The one I picked, on the ready list, which is obviously not ready, is a GEV, which had been a leader and a big winner, but it's not ready. Well, what can I say? Sorry about that, folks. When we see all these other ones ripping, and this one just kind of flagging. And I know the problem here with this one is that it's got the component of the windmills, and the windmills are not really, they're kind of frowned upon. And the others, like OKLO, you got the nuclear fission story. So that's, yeah, I mean, if you want to own one, I think OKLO or LEU are the ones to own, or BE. Buy them on pullbacks, right? GEV is just not ready yet. But I do like stocks trading tight within a base, and this one will pop. You just got to be patient, and a lot of people aren't patient these days. I mean, why be patient and sit on this one when you could just be yippee-ki-yay riding this one to 10% gains? Anyway, AMSC, utility power equipment, excuse me, not a utility, electric power equipment company. I had this one on the ready list as well, and it broke out this week, up 6.6% today. Very nice move. Yeah, 14.5% for the week. So if you got that one, I did have a couple winners this week. Not bad. 14% will take that. But like I said, I didn't buy any of these. I don't know why. I'm just kind of not in the mood right now. I get that way sometimes. Let me see here. Let me go on to the next group. All right, another group that I like, STRL. This is the construction, kind of like the data center build out. This one, ran up to 321, pulled back, to its 50, just kind of forming a base there, and then popped above the 321.79. I think you'd say that would be, a decent base. And if you're like a Darvis, box type trader, you just wait till what's in the box? Well, not Sterling infrastructure anymore. Sorry, Brad Pitt. That thing moved on. It's like George Jefferson. It's moving on up to higher prices. And that TPC, Tutor Perino, I always think of golf. TPC is a tournament players. Yeah, whatever. We play TPC Scottsdale from time to time, so it reminds me of TPC Scottsdale, where they have the Waste Management Golf Tournament. But Tutor Perini, another one that broke out of what you would call a Darvis type of a box here today, of that 63.96, call it 64, and it closed at 66.22. So if Darvis got his wire from overseas, and he sees this TPC breaking out of that box from the old high, he's going to send a wire back and say to his accountant, buy this stock tomorrow. Um, He did better when he got further away from Wall Street. When he got close to Wall Street, he didn't do very well because he was distracted by all the noise and the analysts and everybody talking about all these individual stocks, and that could really mess you up. So stay off Twitter or X. MTZ is another one that I put on my red list. I thought I was going to have trouble with 200, and I still think it might, but it's definitely breaking out of this base here. Um, and it's over 200 after hours. We're just gonna have to wait and see on this one. If you want if you want one of these and it's not totally extended, this one is still, it's only up 5% this week. Having, a nice week, breaking out, still actionable, I believe. And that's not really chasing there. Um, but yeah, nice move for a Maztec. 3.3% above its five. I did see a Maztec truck on the road. There was a worker there, and I said, that's got to be a sign. I believe in stuff like that. All right, more high valuation, speculative groups are the biotech groups, and they benefited greatly from the Powell rate cut and forthcoming rate cuts. This is MLYS. This one obviously gapped up. How many percent? 80 something percent. On September 2, today is what, the 18th. 16 days later, we get another gap here, up 7% after it consolidated in this little flag pattern. And I keep showing you these flag patterns, and they're really working. A lot of them are. This one barely even flagged on the weekly. Just wants higher prices. MLYS ADPT, another one. I don't know what they do. I don't know what most of these biotechs do, but I just know chart patterns, and this one's breaking out. So that one looks pretty good as well. We like new highs. PTCT, genetic mutations, orphan, ultra orphan. Yeah, I don't know what these things do, but they're making new highs and they're very strong. And they like the rate cut from Powell and forthcoming rate cut. So this is hims and hers. Big move today above the, you can see it undercut the 50, now rallied back through the 50. You can see the five already ran through the 50 before today, and today it popped 11% on the rate cut news. So yeah, meet the new boss, same as the old boss, hims and hers, back in the news. NTLA, this one, yeah, I don't know, breaking out of a base, power through the pivot. That's what you want to see when a stock breaks out of a base. You want to see, big volume, the institutional support here as it goes through that, 1461. Once again, paging Nicholas Darvis, he would be a buyer of this stock here. Once he got the wire, made it above the 1451, closed at 1611, time to buy. He didn't do all the technical, the moving averages or any of that stuff. He just said, hey, if it's breaking the new highs, I want to own that stock. And he did pretty well that way. And the last one, oh, I lied. No, I think I have a couple of them. Beam, Jim Beam, breaking out as well today. Power through the pivot. You see this, good volume here, 43% above the 50-day average. 12% move as it went right through that, was it 2280 and closed at 2510. So another nice breakout there. And once again, if for all the Darvis fans out there, and I know there's a lot of them breaking out of that box. So what's in the box? Not Beam, not Jim Beam anymore. We got to take him out, open him up, have a swig. And the last one I want to talk about in the NVO, you dummy. Novo Nordisk, obviously, made a bottom here at 45, ran up to 58, went sideways for like 3 weeks, and now popped, 6% today on the weight loss pill. It's up 13% this week, and you can see the 3 weeks, if they're hitting a bottom, running up, then some profit taker came in, and this week it's just saying adios, muchachos. I'm off to the races. A fundamental story. This thing's sound. The story hasn't changed. Market got soured on it. The CEO made a bunch of mistakes. They have a new CEO. The last report, they just said, everything's horrible and they lowered guidance. So at the next report, it's going to be easy to climb that hurdle. And, I think it's a safe bet that the new CEO is going to look like a champ after beating and raising next quarter. And that's just the way the game's played on Wall Street. All right. That's it for the drugs. No more drugs. I got to go to the financials because they're going to be impacted by lower interest rates as well. This is Goldman Sachs. I mean, this thing's just been on a phenomenal run since breaking out of this cup with handle pattern. And, it's a sign of the times, right? I mean, these big banks, that's 250 billion market cap, JP Morgan, 860 billion market cap, just making new highs, just ripping higher. And you could just go to just about any bank today, and especially these large ones, and they're just making new highs. There's Bank of America just kicking butt. SoFi, another one. More of a growth name. It's got the growth profile that we like, making new highs today. And the other one was GDOT. This is one that I had featured in my gaps higher, and then the flags. Well, this one gapped and flag, and now it's starting to move out once again, paging Mr. Darvis. This is breaking out of that 1427 box. And now it closed at 15.25. You think, oh, that's only a dollar more. Yeah, a dollar when it's only $14 stock is, 7, 8%. So anyway, that's it for the financials, and I'm going to move on. That's a finance credit card payment company, but I had to throw it in with the financials. Not all is rosy on Wall Street. I showed you the retail restaurants and the home. I thought this would happen. A little bit of a sell the news event because the housing market's not good. And it ran up in anticipation of the rate cuts. And then once we get them now, it's selling off a little bit. Not horrible. It's just what do they you call a shakeout or weak hands. You need that. You need that shakeout before the next move higher. What's this been? 2 weeks now? So, I think that's long enough time. I'd definitely be watching this one. That's a cup. And this is forming a nice handle here, down 4% this week. And last week, it was down 2%. So I think that's getting to be about enough for DH. And the other one is Pulte. Yeah, these things are just pulling back ever so slightly here. Not bad. 142 to 134, just shaking some fools out, pulling back to the 21. I like that move, and I kind of thought that we would get that. Same with Open Door. I get so many questions about Open Door. It's very, very simple for me. Above the green line, I'm good. If it slices it, I mean, with volume, violently, I'm out. But for now, I mean, this looks like it's just going to keep going. But yeah, pulled back today. 3% had an inside day. I mean, it was up 15% yesterday. Come on, folks. And it's probably up like 15% for the week. 10%. So give them a break, right? It made a new high yesterday. I've got above the 1070, made a high of 1087, pulled back today. It's now below $10. So yeah, just kind of flagging here. And that's what it does. This is one that I do own, by the way, but it just makes these it makes these big runs and flags. Big run, flag. I mean, very consistent, pulling back to the 5, big run, flagging now. Not a problem. Yeah, I probably won't do anything tomorrow for OPEX, but in the next week or two, I bet you it's going to make a new high. And I would wait. Those of you who are interested, I would wait till it pulls back to that 5 again. You know it's going to do it. Today the 5 was 942. Yesterday it was 915. I think it started the week at about the 5 was 797. 797, and now it's 942. That's what I'm saying. You don't have to hold stuff like this very long to be in the chips. As long as it stays above the green line, that thing's rising very rapidly. All right, I'm going to take a random walk. Uh, Okay, yeah, I guess I will. I showed you Credo earlier, so I'm not going to do that. ALAB, there was some real shenanigans today in the market, and when I see stuff like this, it spooks me a little bit. ALAB was having a real strong day, and all of a sudden, it was like 262 there. You could see it 123, and then what at 243, 143, like 20 minutes later, it's 244. 262 to 244. $18 drop in what, 18 minutes? Something like that, 20 minutes? Yeah, that's a dollar a minute. Now, that spooks me a little bit when I see that, especially when I own the stock and I look at that, I go, wow, what happened to this stock? That's called an air pocket or a trap door. It's probably some big fun getting out. And you say, no big deal, it's just one fund getting out. But what if a couple of other funds decide to get out too? So take profits. If you bought this thing at 100, I'm just going to say, if you bought this thing at 100, say full position 10%, and it ran up to whatever it was today, 260. I mean, come on, take some off the table, buy your significant other something nice or buy yourself something nice, but just take some off the table and let the rest ride. Because it's had a massive move. And this is probably going to be one of these monster stocks or these model book stocks. It sure looks that way. It has the looks of it. And it could go to 400, 500, 600, very well could. But it's always doesn't hurt to take some off the table and take some profits along the way. And you can always add back, if it pulls back to the 21 or even if it pulls back to the 5, you can always add back. But I just like taking some off the table, especially when I see that type of shenanigans going into quad witching tomorrow. Same thing with Reddit. This thing was really ripping, and then all of a sudden, whoop, the rug got pulled on you, didn't it? Yeah, I don't like that type of action at all. Even though you say, "Oh, it's up for the day. What's wrong with you, Marty?" Well, yeah, it was 282 and it closed at 270, near the lows of the session. So that's kind of stuff bugs me. But there's nothing wrong with Reddit as long as it's above the 5. Once again, if it's above the green line, you're good. Keep it simple. Another one that was just total shenanigans today. VSAT. I actually bought this one today. It ran up, made a new high. It looked fantastic, right? The algos are just all systems go, buying everything, right? And then wrong. It just sold off, man, down to the 21. And then it popped in the last, I don't know, 20 minutes. Didn't pop. I mean, it was still down, what, 6%, but it was down to 29.11 as it pulled back to its 21 EMA, which was 29.70 today. And then, closed 21% of the daily range. But I'm thinking this is going to get support here. Why? Why would I think that? Because it's done it before. It's done it before. Every time it pulls back to the 21. Doesn't mean it has to this time. It could definitely crash right through there tomorrow and go right down to the 50 on quad witching Friday. You never know. But I'm hedging my bets here. I'm thinking that that this pattern holds and it's going to trade back over 30. Heck, it actually closed over 30. So maybe to get back up to 33. Today the high was 34 something for VSAT at 34.05 immediately, and it just sold right off. So just a lot of shenanigans. You got to be careful out there. If you're holding a stock for longer term, like if you bought Robinhood at 50 bucks, I mean, you're just saying whatever. It doesn't matter if it's 110 or 120, we're doing fine. This is going higher. Made a high today of 124.36, and I really thought Hood was going to take off today. My buddy was giddish. He wasn't giddish. He was he was giddy. He was giddy and he was calling me, Robin Hood's breaking out. Robin Hood's breaking out. And not really. Robin Hood's like afraid to like leave the neighborhood. It's like the kid, who's afraid to go to college or something like, get out of the house. Like you got to get out of this box, buddy. And it just doesn't want to leave. It's just, I want to go, but then he comes back. I think next week it will be able to do that as it enters into the S&P 500 index. There'll be some force buying there. But yeah, it went above 124 today. So it's really trying hard to break out of this box. And like I say, you got to be from Missouri. You got to say, you got to show me. And I think it will. I think it wants to, but it's taking its time. It's really teasing folks. But I wouldn't short it. Definitely would not short that. I think that thing's going higher for sure. What else do we have? IREN, another one. I get a lot of questions on this one. All it's doing is pulling back to its 5 today. People were upset that I think it made a new high, then pulled back to the 5. That's what stocks do. They go up, they go down. But as long as this thing minding to 5, that's actually probably a buy here. Maybe you'd want to see it pull back a little bit tomorrow, but yeah, I don't want to speak out of turn. I said it made a new high. The high was 38.48. Yeah, 38.50. 2 cents. So that's my 2 cents on this stock. It made a new high, sold off all day. All it did is it like a magnet back to the 5, so it's okay. It's okay, folks. People, yeah, Cypher, Wolf, and IREN, the folks who own those three are just like, They really expect them to go up every day. And they've just been monsters, but you got to give them time. You got to think more like an investor and not just like a day trader. Now, there's nothing wrong with this stock. It's moved. What was this thing was $5 not long ago. Now it's pushing 40, folks. So come on, give it a little bit of a breather here. Let it percolate. Give it room to breathe. Like when you open a bottle of wine, let it breathe. All right. What else do we have today? Oh, BLSH reported earnings. This is the first earnings since it went IPO. Nice response to earnings, up 21%. Bullish. You got to be bullish on bullish. I love the name. METC, this is an energy coal stock, just busting out another a Darvish type of play, where once it's above the 27.31, it's straight up go time. And Mr. Darvish would be sending in his wire saying, please buy me 1,000 shares of Ramaco Resources at 30.92. Actually, it's might be above 31 tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see. You can't always get what you want. Quantum Scape, nice move here, bounce. I looked at the stocks up on volume today. It was like 600 stocks. Recently, there's only been like, 200, 250. And then today there was a lot, and there was a lot making new highs as well. So that one looks good. CLSK, this is just ripping today. Up near that buy point of 1366. Nice move here. Rallied. Undercut the 50, rallied right back through. Clean Spark looks pretty darn good. Cam Tech, this is an old one that I used to trade a while back. This one's looking good. Broke above its downtrend line. Popped nicely today, 14%. Yeah, this one was a big winner here back in 23. 24. I forgot all about it actually, and it just came on my radar today. 14% move will do that. OUST, talk about your high valuation stocks doing well. This one loves a rate cut. What has it got? 35, 70, about 140 million in sales and a 2 billion market cap. So this is very rich, a rich stock. And you could say that it traded above its downtrend line this week and popped today 13%. So that one looks good as well. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up. Except in honor of the great Steve Jobs, I got to point out one more thing, and that is FedEx reported after the bell, and they had a nice quarter, which is good to hear. Up 6% after hours, which is good. You can see it's kind of been in a, not kind of, it is in a downtrend. And maybe it could, break out of this, what we would call a stage 4 decline and then a stage 1 base. And maybe it can enter a stage 2 uptrend. We'll have to wait and see for FedEx. And the other one was Lennar. I did not hear the Lennar report. And it's not trading after hours, so I don't know what they said. I'll have more in the morning, though. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up.